So I wanted to just jump on here and I got some Friday feelings going on and wanted to let them out. And it's just some things that currently I see in strength and conditioning and in the community that just really annoy me. And I'm going to preface this, right? This is not me yet being an idiot or being a dickhead, being rude or pointing out anyone in particular. These are trends that I see which really kind of give a bit of well, for me, it lacks a bit of class and it devalues what we do in so many different ways. And you know me, if you do know me, you know I've been putting content out online since about 2009. If you check my earliest YouTube videos, I do apologize about my haircut at the time. Um, and been always do my best to try and post the most helpful content. But I've seen a lot of trends, and to be honest, it does lead me to be a bit despondent with the information that we put out, and that's one of the reasons why I always get it wrong. Why I wrote my book, because if you write a book, you put it out there, it's there, and it solves a lot of problems. But I'm going to go through a couple of lists, and please do enjoy this with me as a bit of tongue in cheek, a bit of good humor, if you wish. And so the number one thing that really drives me mad, because a lot of these, again, I'll preface this, these are a lot of things that I used to do, and used to really worry about, and used to make these mistakes. So the first one would be to overcomplicate things, overcomplicate very simple training solutions. Ultimately, we're not trying to prove how smart we are, but when we overcomplicate things, we actually make ourselves sound a little bit more stupid. And that's because no one cares. Um, Again, if you want to be academic and be to get to the depth, the true depths of things, write a book, publish research, go into that area of academia. It's not really for social media. That doesn't get me going. And I know if I put myself as an athlete, the reason why we do our job, the reason why we have our job is because of athletes. We don't do that. We don't need to talk in those ways. We don't need to overcomplicate things because we like the sound of our own voice. Speaks the guy that is doing a piece about what things that annoy him. Anyway, the second one, producing information and putting pieces of content out there for peer approval rather than to help the people that you're trying to help. And those people are athletes, those people, or even are coaches. I've done coach education for a long, long time. And when we're trying to educate people and work with people, we move the needle at the rate that they need to be moved at. And if academia and stuff was the way it was, everyone would know every word in the dictionary when they were born. We have to build through a process of discovery and using many different ways to educate. And peer approval is the biggest killer. Is the biggest killer of progress. I largely don't create content in a way that I used to, where I used to want everyone to think I was the best thing in the world. I don't care anymore, and I haven't cared for a long time because I have nothing to prove to people ultimately who don't really care. They're just going to talk nonsense about you behind your back, and they do that. There are these things, and it just happens. But remember, when those things happen, it's because people are operating out of insecurity. So take that and stay with that. I found that really hard the first few times I got trolled, and people having WhatsApp groups and all stuff about me and bits and bobs. But so don't create content for peer approval. Create content to help. And they're two very different things. You're smart enough and you're brave enough to do it. So just keep doing it, keep nurturing it. This one kills me. It is when I see a piece of content that says you people or these people. I've heard people say, who are these people that we talk about, that I've heard people talk about? Where are they from? Who are these people? Are they I don't know, what is their name? I don't know. Hopefully you can see the humor in that with me, because these people don't exist largely. So don't say these people. if you've been provoked in a way, or something has wound you up in, and doing a piece about being a little bit wound up and agitated. Again, I do get the irony in that, so don't worry. But these these people say this and these people say that. I've heard people say that. Basically, what you're saying is you've heard something of someone that you disagree with. So you're going to vent and rant about these people. So stop saying these people in anything that you do, because no one cares about these people. Just talk about what you believe in and show proof that you believe in it and why it works, and provide solutions, not conjecture. Be very transparent and be very thorough with what you do. Then at number 4, they hold back. Coaches just try to hold everything back. Secret sauce, silver bullet. If you listen really, really closely, I'll tell you all the secrets that are out there. There aren't any secrets. I'll say it again. There are no secrets. You know, I'm a big history nut. This shelf here is full of books. That shelf there's full of books. That shelf there's full of books, and dating back from the 80s, the 60s, of stuff, of training stuff. And read more books, because there are no secrets. There are no all we see now is regurgitation in trends. If you want to know, think of it this way: if you want to know how things go in cycles, then look at all the vintage clothing boom. Everyone was paying ridiculous amounts of money for clothes that were 30 years old. Just think of it for a second. Understand that for a minute. When probably a year or two before, you could go through a car boot sale and get a dodgy shell jacket for a $5. So think about, nothing is new. A coat is a coat. The way it looks is the way it looks. A squat is a squat. A jump is a jump. A speed drill is a speed drill. There's nothing new there. So just stay with that. So don't hold back. Give away more. Say, I work with this athlete. I did this with them. This is the result that I got. I thought it did really well. It might help you. Very, very simple. And the last one is, in our culture of strength and conditioning, we tend to really just obsess over the non-essential. Okay. Currently in team sports, there is a huge epidemic of an increased rate of hamstring injuries. There's an increased rate of ACL injuries across all levels. And that is because we don't know enough to solve that problem. We just don't think well enough to solve that problem. We've got an extreme tug of war going on between the over reliance and over obsession of general training means, and the increased demand for technical and tactical training. So you are pulling a horse in two different directions, okay, at the same time, which doesn't work. I just see this as this massive tug of war going on. And that being said, is that when we're really good at making a mountain out of a molehill with regards to, well, I need to have this angle for this position. I need to be that place for that position. I'm team sport biased. You know, things are very different when you're talking about high jump, long jump. There are some really fine, minute details that you need to go into. But if I've got a rugby player catching a high ball, I don't really care. I honestly don't care what angle they're at. I just care they catch the bloody ball and can make a difference on the field. Does it relate to the field? So there's an over obsession. And if we start to boil down and drill down these holes too far, we don't come back and we forget. And I think partly the reason why we do this, and I used to do this, is it was because I wanted to be known to be able to solve all the problems for my athletes on the field in the gym. And you can't do that. And it really shifted my bias a long time ago to, does it actually make sense on the field? Does it work on the field? Can we keep taking stuff away? Can we progress by subtraction? And that's how I get the best results. I take more out of the programs that I do with my athletes rather than giving them more to do. And so again, another like call to arms, that if you can get an athlete strong with 5 sets, try and do it with 4, try and do it with 3, try and do it 2, try and do it with 1. If you can improve an athlete's speed marginally, fractionally, with a load of intensive sprint volume, try to do extensive sprint volume and see what happens. Understand the different times of the year. Go revisit block periodization. Block periodization works so well with team sport athletes. Vertical integration doesn't work really well in my experience because of way too many different things. But anyway, I'm going off on a massive tangent, but those are kind of like the 5 things. I just wanted to post this live video the things that strength and conditioning does to destroy itself. We are cannibalistic in nature, and I want to provide some voice of humor, voice of reason, and a bit of fun on a Friday afternoon because I've made all those mistakes. I've made all those mistakes. I really have, and I still continue. I'm very much human, and if you know me well enough, then hopefully you can understand that this comes from a massive place of love and passion for what we do, and just so you know, an overarching gentle reminder of whoever's listening to this, watching this, or who even cares what I have to say. If you can just tame those things back, then we can just keep moving forward. And if you enjoyed this, just let me know. I'll probably post it as a podcast anyway. But yeah, for now, I'm 3 o'clock. I'm going home and have beers and burger. It's burger night at the Portland House by the beach. So yeah, adios, amigos, hasta mañana. That's about the extent of my language. So I'll see you later.